All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. We have got an awesome guest for y'all today. You guys are in for a treat. Miss Elizabeth Riley. She's down out of Texas. And, Elizabeth, you'll hear a little bit about her story in a second, but she was one of the very early adopters into EXP. She also recruited Gene Frederick. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But on top of that, she's the only agent in EXP that is a 9-time icon agent. So not only does she have a massive organization within EXP, she is out there producing at an icon level year after year, 9 times. So she has 71 FLAs. She's got 42 FLQAs. And she's got 11,607 agents in her organization. And even with those numbers, I mean, you guys know what kind of rev share that produces, right? Or at least a ballpark with that. And she is still out in production. And so I love that she's here with us today and doing both of them at such a high level. So, Elizabeth, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I love coming in and meeting our EXP family. So I'm honored that you guys asked me to be here this morning.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So why don't we just start, Elizabeth? I'm just going to let you maybe tell a little bit of your real estate history. When you joined EXP. Like I said, I know you're one of the early adopters. Where were you before that, and what did you even see in EXP before it was EXP?
Sure. And throughout this, I'm an open book. So if y'all have questions, I'm always happy to share. So like Kathy said, I'm out of Austin, Texas. I got licensed 19 years ago. It was May 1st was 19 years in Atlanta, Georgia. So my husband and I lived there. We were both investors. And I was actually in the event and marketing and planning space doing really cool things like Greece Olympics and Australian Open. And we were sitting in my CPA's office one day and he said, one of you needs to get your real estate license. And I ignored it and I just I didn't hear that. And my husband said, well, I have the corporate job, you're getting your license. And I didn't ever have this passion for real estate in this sense. And I kind of went kicking and screaming, when you're told you have to do something. And so I went to Keller Williams at the time. They were the only company that would let me be part-time. And it was a really small office. Nobody really knew who what KW was at the time, and just started working with people that I knew that were in my book club or, my neighbor or my college roommate, and just started building my business that way. And it was fun. It wasn't like a job because I'm very introverted. I can be very adaptive, but I don't want to go do all the things that they were telling us we had to do to be a successful real estate agent. That just wasn't authentic to me. I wasn't going to go knock on somebody's door, and I wasn't going to go cold call or for sale by owners or any of that stuff. So I just started realizing, oh, this is actually fun. I love doing this in my way, and became one of the top producers there in 2008. I don't know if any of y'all were in the business back then, but that market was a little bit challenging, and we were transferred to Austin, Texas. So didn't know anybody in Austin at the time. I had an 18-month-old and came here, and I went to KW because that's what I knew. I lived in a townhouse community of 44 homes, and my little guy and I we did knock on doors, but it wasn't to ask for the business or to solicit. It was to earn a relationship, right? Hi, I'm Elizabeth. We just moved in the neighborhood. We live down here. And they're like, oh my gosh, where'd you move from, right? Everybody wants to know where you moved from. Everybody wants to know why you're here. They want to get to know you. And so that's how I built my relationships there. And afterwards I went back and I wrote a handwritten note to everybody. I still to this day write handwritten notes to everybody. And I said, such a great time meeting you, because when they would ask me, well, why did you move here? My husband's job, what's he do? They went through all that. Well, what do you do? Well, I was in real estate in Atlanta, and I'm getting my license here in Texas. And they're like, oh my gosh, don't you know the market's horrible? It's burst. It's horrible. And I was like, well, it's all perspective, right? And it's perception, because I came from a market that was really bad. Atlanta did burst. So Austin to me was an opportunity. And if all these other people were putting their heads in the sand and saying, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, then, well, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to still work with the buyers and sellers that are still moving and moving in and out of Austin. So I stayed in touch with all those people. I'm referral based only. I'm 100% referral. I range anywhere from about 25 to 35 million each year. and all referral based. So I really just believe if you build the relationship, the business is going to come. So I became a top producer in Keller Williams in 2014. We had 650 agents. I was number one. I came home, and I don't follow my numbers like that. Well, I didn't then. I do now for Icon, but because I just really felt like if you treat your clients like they're your one and only, your business is going to come. And so I became the number one producer out of 650 agents. And I went home that day, and my husband said, "Let's celebrate." And I said, "I'm getting out of the business." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because we talk about God, family, and business." And it was all business. I have 4 children, and my husband at the time traveled internationally. And I said, "I'm on a hamster wheel, and this is not like, it was all business. And I'm not okay with that. I don't want to do this again." And he goes, "We'll go to another company." And I was like, "No, it's a lateral move." And he said, "Well, start your own brokerage." Absolutely not. It's not anything that I ever wanted to do. And at the time, all of my relationships in Georgia, a handful of them had all gone to this little company called EXP Realty. And they had talked to me about a year before, and I wasn't interested. And when they talked to me about a year before, y'all, the stock was 10 cents. So let me just tell you, I was kicking myself a little bit there. But timing is everything with every person you talk to. And so they had all gone to EXP. Nobody had ever heard of them. They said, "Would you meet with somebody?" Sure, I'll meet with anybody. That you guys mean a lot to me. I don't ask questions. Sure, if it's important to you, I'll meet with them. And that was Glenn Sanford. So Glenn came in to meet with me end of 20 or fall of 2014, sat across in a Regis office with his notebook and his avatars, and I didn't get it. And I said, I don't get it. And he said, "Well, this is the reason why I created EXP." He was an agent like I was. He knew the pain points that I had. He didn't have ownership like I was trying to get ownership. He understood all of that. He talked to me quite a bit about rev share though, and I was not interested in rev share. And so that's one of the things I'll share with you guys as we finish or continue our conversation today. It's you got to figure out what's important to the other person and figure out what the pebble in their shoe is. And Glenn thought because a lot of people followed me at KW that I would be interested in rev share. And what happened, quite frankly, was the people at KW, I was helping all of them because the company wasn't. And so it was actually drowning me. And so I wanted to be far, far away from that. And so what really caught my eye was Stefan Swanepoel's article on on his trends report. And he talked about the different models, and he's broker blind. He's not aligned with any brokerage. And he said the ones to watch, this is what KW is doing, this is what Remax is doing, but the one to watch is EXP Realty. It's the Amazon.com of real estate. And I thought, that's interesting. What if I had known about Amazon when they were trying to sell books online, right? What if we had all bought a bunch of stock back then? Life would be a little bit different. And so part of me was like, that would be interesting. What if that worked? That could be really cool. And then the other side of me was like, what if that doesn't work? And it's just like the Austin situation where everybody's like, the sky is falling. I saw opportunity while everybody saw challenges. So for me, I said, well, if it doesn't work, I can go back to any other brokerage. They all need top producers. Where the risk is me staying where I am. The risk is me staying comfortable and not trying. And so I said, this is interesting. Now I'll take a jump and I'll take a leap, but I won't do it on that might negatively impact anybody else. And so I brought a big group together. It was a private meeting. There were about 20 of us top producers, and they didn't even know I set up the meeting, quite frankly, because any of them, our licenses would have been sent back. And so Glenn and some other people came in and talked to everybody, and we're like, this is kind of fun. This could be fun to build something together. It wasn't rev share for us. It was getting back to the basics, falling back in love with real estate again and not being on that hamster wheel. And you're going to give a stock. I don't know what that means, but it's going to be worth more than the 10 baseball caps I have that say capper, right? So I was like, what if? So I had a number of people that we thought we were all bored. We were bored and uninspired. And so we went to all those other people, and they were all wanting to make a leap. And then I realized I want to seek wise counsel. And so I went to my team leader in Georgia, Brad Feynman, if any of y'all know who that is. And I talked to him about it. And I said, and he was with KW 22 years. He was a team leader for 17. Sean Rawls and Brad Feynman are two of the biggest influences for me getting into the business. And so Brad said, "You're crazy. Don't do this. You've built all this at KW. Don't do this." And then I went to my team leader in Austin, who had retired, who's no longer my team leader. And I knew that was a safe conversation. because he wouldn't send my license back. And that was Gene Frederick. And I said, Gene, I need you to tell me what I don't know. I've never been anywhere other than KW. I want y'all to, everybody on this call, to understand, I never approached Gene Frederick trying to recruit Gene Frederick. I was not interested in attraction. I was not interested in revenue share. I went to him because I truly respected him. And over the years, people have always told me I was lucky. And for a long time, I believed, oh, maybe I was just lucky. And then I recognized, no, I wasn't lucky. If I hadn't earned that relationship, if I hadn't been one of his top producers, if I hadn't, he didn't know who if he didn't know who I was and my character and my ethics, he would have never sat down and taken the time to meet with me. And so I said, Gene, I need you to tell me I'm crazy. People are telling me I'm crazy, and tell me what I don't know. And so we poked holes, and he would tell me, go ask these questions, go ask these questions. And Glenn would come in town, and then Jason Guessing would come in town. I was like, will you meet with him and just go see what you think? And he's like, sure. So 5 months we did that. And one day he said, you know what? I'm bored. I'm
Hey Siri,
uninspired. Let's do this.
remind me to
So,
call.
so he said, you just need to talk Susan into selling all of our 7 market centers, and we'll do this together. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we all went to dinner, his wife, my husband, and the cool thing about our spouses were they realized how excited we were, and they were there and they were supportive. And they said, if this is something y'all want to do, we're behind you 100%. So Gene and I came on board. I'm agent 466. I guess he's agent 467. I don't know. But he and I came on in May of 2015. And it's been incredible. It doesn't feel like it's been 9 years. We just hit 9 years May 1st, and I feel like when you're doing something you're passionate about and you're building, you've all heard that you build your dream, or somebody's going to hire you to build theirs. We recognize that we were building KW's dream and everybody else's dream for so many years that now it's fun for us to be able to build ours. And so people follow people. And Gene is one of my 71 people that have come, followed me. I've got most of my frontline are cappers. Most of them are icons. So, I don't have a really, really wide frontline like some people do. But I see these people as partners, and I'm really involved in the day-to-day with them. We do meetings all the time. We're doing get-togethers all the time, things like that. But those people, when you love on your people, and you love on your front line, and you love on your second line, and you teach them how to love on their people, it cascades out, and we have almost 12,000 in the org now. So that's kind of the overview of how we got to EXP. Here's the fun part. My team leader, who told me in Georgia that I was crazy, he watched me for 7.5 years. People are watching you, by the way. He watched me for 7.5 years. And a year and a half ago, he said, Riley, I'm ready to talk. And he joined EXP September of that year, and he's on fire. He's like, why didn't I come sooner? I was like, the timing wasn't right. So people are always watching you. Even if they said no at the very beginning, that doesn't mean no forever.
So good. Did you follow up with him, or did he just watch you? Were you
He was a relationship. Yeah, I followed up with him all the time, and he's like, Riley, how are your numbers this year? Like he was a team leader, right? And I was in both states for a long time. And so he would always check up on me, and I would always follow up with him. But I never would talk EXP about him anymore. In fact, some of my bigger growth leaders, I mean, Gene obviously is a huge leader. Brad's a huge leader. Terrence Murphy, if you guys know who he is, he had an independent with 30 agents. They did about $1.2 billion in a little college town. He and I talked for 4 years. He played NFL. He's a huge leader and an influencer, but it took him 4 years to, actually, I just wasn't asking the right questions. So I follow up with people. I stay in touch with people. I don't ever talk about EXP. Terrence even told me, he's like, Elizabeth, I love you as a friend. I don't want to talk about EXP. I was like, your friendship's more important, but they still watch you, and you can still be intentional in how you bring them in and how you keep them connected, and they're paying attention.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. So, man, there's just so many things in your story, that I love. So 9-time icon agent, you're all about relationship. You're all about building that relationship. So let's start there. So agents that are in production, I want to go two sides of this coin. So agents that are in production, and agents that maybe don't sell, aren't icon. Maybe they're only selling 4 or 5 homes a year. So they don't
Yeah.
have the same connections with realtors that an icon agent does. They're not in front of them all the time, like, like a producer like yourself. And so let's start with the producing agent. So when you're doing deals with them, what is your, how are you building a relationship? And then how do you ultimately open the conversation with EXP? Because I assume you are somewhat proactive in that you're not just passive and letting them all come to you and ask you.
I'm kind of passive, but I'm intentional with how I'm passive, right? So just like my clients, I'm very passive with them. I market to them. I'm very direct with my marketing, and I'm intentional with the relationships. So a lot of my business is all referrals. It's a lot the same way in the attraction side. I don't recruit, and I know some people love the word recruiting, and some people are adversely, triggered by that word. I think there's a difference between recruiting and attracting. I think there's a space for both of them. I attract. So what I do, and when Gene and I talked about this, Gene was going, I mean, Gene's a recruiter. Like, he gets on the calls, he's calling him, let me talk to you about EXP. I'm seeing your numbers, blah, blah, blah. I was going the production route, and he would tell me the longest time, you need to get out of production. I'm like, that's what I know. Right. And my production is my attraction. So the reason I stay in production is not for another commission check, right? It's when it's no longer about the income, it's about the impact. And I'm in impact mode. So I stay in production because it keeps me relevant. It keeps me visible. It keeps me current, right? I don't want to be, I just don't feel like I'm being my authentic self. If somebody calls me and is like, hey, I need help with this contract. I was like, I haven't looked in a contract in 6 years. You see what I mean? I want to be in the field. I want to meet the agents. So what I do though, is I had to figure out what made the most sense. I am attracting, and I'm on third party calls all the time for people in my org now. I'm not really as focused on my front line. I've kind of won the game in that, right? So if I can keep my front and my second lines set, we're good, especially with the new rev share changes. And then now this gives me an opportunity to help build other people out. So I've just put 3 different people that should have been in my front line under other people, right, the other day. So, but what I do is I create a lot of events, and I create a lot of opportunities for agents to come together. I think if we can show people who we are instead of tell them, it's so much more powerful. I tell people all the time, do not EXP on people. They are so over hearing about EXP. And I'm like, you're EXPing. And especially in our market, because when we started building in our market, that's all we were doing. We were talking about EXP. I mean, we didn't know what else to do. We didn't know what else. I mean, we didn't have the numbers behind us in the production. We didn't have the #1 transaction count behind us, right? We were just having to build something and sell the vision. So I do a lot of events. One of the things that's been really awesome, and any of y'all, it's called R&D, rip off and duplicate. Y'all can always rip off anything we're doing. I created AHA clubs, agents helping agents. And I started this mainly for the EXP agents, because they all needed to come together, and we were also virtual, especially with COVID and all this other stuff. And I pick one place. I do it at the Austin Board of Realtors. I do it the same day every month. I'm very consistent. Consistency is key, whether it's production or attraction. Okay. And what happens is, we weren't talking EXP. We weren't talking, it was kind of a counteract to the lunch and learns, where people would say lunch and learn, come in, and then they bait and switch them. That was what was happening in our market anyway. Okay. And nobody likes that. And so we would start doing production meetings, and all of our agents were saying, can we bring a guest? Yes, but we're not going to talk about EXP. We're not going to bait and switch them. Let's show them what we're about. So they all invite guests all the time. And here's what's happening. Most of them now are non-EXP agents, and they're coming because they're not getting that value from their brokerage. And they're saying, well, our agents don't talk like this. Are you guys seriously opening up your playbooks? You're seriously willing to help? Yes. Why are you willing to do that? Well, we own the company. When you own something, you treat it differently, right? And they don't understand until they experience what we're doing. So I do AHA clubs every single month. I usually will have 75 to 125 people in a meeting once a month. I have a lender or a title company or somebody come bring lunch. I charge them all $15, because I used to do it for free. And then we'd have all these lunches, and people are like, there's the perception of it's not valuable if it's free. So I make them pay a little bit, skin in the game. $15 is usually manageable, but that has been a huge attraction piece. We just did ours last week. I do it the second Wednesday of every month. And it was women in YouTube. We have a lot of guys that dominate in YouTube, but there's a lot of women that dominate in YouTube. I've got 3 in Austin, 3 strong females that I'm like, let's put you guys up on stage. I don't put anybody up front that's not EXP. I had 4 people, 4 of my guests join, and I put them under other people. And in that meeting alone, we had 8 people join the company just because they're coming and plugging in all the time. So that's I am kind of passive when that happens. A lot of people see me as a top producer all the time. I'm always on the awards things. I was just, up for, I won Ethics of the Year last year with the board. I was up for, I don't even know what it was, community service. Then they reach out to me. They're like, we're watching you. What's going on with this? Tell us about EXP. Because they're like, why is Elizabeth Riley at EXP? Because their perception is, and they're listening to the noise and they're listening to the false narratives that the competitors are putting out there, or somebody that doesn't really know. I had a top producer. He was the #1 agent in their brokerage. It was an independent brokerage here. They had, I think, 700 agents. He and I've known each other, I don't know, 12 years. We were on a networking boat that my lender put together. He's like, Elizabeth, what would help you? I was like, get a networking group together, all other agents, top producers that aren't EXP. So we put a networking event together with 8 of us, and I handpicked who they were. Partner with your partners, okay? Brian Copeland was on that boat. He's like, hey, you're still at EXP. I am. I was like, are you still at Realty Austin? He goes, I am. I said, how's that going? He's like, it's fine. Yeah, I was #1. I was like, can I ask you a personal question? He goes, yeah. I go, what'd you pay your brokerage last year? He said, $210,000. Like, what? And he goes, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I said, for 1 year? He goes, yeah. He goes, why? So they were at a non-capping model, right? And I was like, that's insanity. He goes, why? What'd you pay yours? And I said, I paid my company 16,000. Oh, actually I didn't, because I got that back in stock. So I really only paid 5,000. He goes, I know your numbers. He goes, what do y'all do? I'm printing money over there? I said, yeah, something like that. He goes, wait, you get stock? I assumed everybody knew what we were doing.
Wow.
Brian and I have been friends for years. And he's like, I need to talk to you. So I did something very out of character, by the way. He loves video. So that week was Rev Share Day. And I did a video in my car. I was like, hey friend, just want to let you know that I was thinking about the call that you had the other day, or the conversation we had the other day, and you paid your company $210,000. And he goes, and I said, you told me you'd buy an investment property with that if you didn't spend that. I go, well, I just bought a few of your investment properties today. I was like, hope you're having a good day. Happy Rev Share Day. He wrote me a video right back. All right, let's meet. So we sat down, and when I showed him the numbers, he got it immediately. He was like, why didn't you ever call me? Why didn't you call me 4 years ago? I was like, I don't call people. That's a miss on me, right? And it was an eye opener for me, going, oh shoot, I should really reach out to the relationships I have. And I mean, now he's been here 15 months. He's icon twice. He captained 1 month, iconed in 3. He has 150 people in his organization. And I had no idea. I just assumed everybody knew what we were doing. So miss on me, and I'm always learning and failing forward as well. But for me, I am more passive, so I have them come to me. But I would really say, you've got all these people on this screen right now. Every single one of you has something that's different in your approach, and whatever's authentic to you, people are going to read right through it if you're not being authentic. So I'm not going to ever do a lunch and learn. Jean and I did a lot of lunch and learns at the beginning. And it did feel really awkward to me, because we're speaking about EXP to all these people, but just like Glenn wasn't speaking my language when he was talking about RevShare, how can I really get into conversations and understand what the pebble in their shoe is? So I like it when I can sit down with somebody. Jean tells me all the time, don't be one-on-one. That's how I operate better, or in a smaller group. So I can say, Kelly, tell me about your business. What are you passionate about? And they'll talk revenue, they'll talk real estate, or they'll talk production numbers. I was like, no, outside of that, what are you passionate about? I met with an agent the other day, and she goes, what am I passionate about? Nobody's ever asked me that. I was like, well, yeah, this feels your passion. So what are you passionate about? She's like, true story. She says, I want to be president of NAR one day. I was like, well, that's one I've not heard. So, and I said, how's your company going to get you there? Right? So you just start asking questions. The person that's asking questions is in control of the conversation. I don't say, hey, Kate, let's sit down. I'm going to tell you all about EXP and da-da-da. They don't care. What they care about is, what can I do to get to the next level to focus on my family or my passions or my goals? How can real estate do that? And if I'm just talking to them about what's important to me, I'm missing the opportunity. So I ask a ton of questions. I don't ever talk about EXP, but they come to me.
What's your invite? So you've got the credibility being the icon. What's your invite to the agent to coffee or wherever to sit down and talk business? So for the newer agent or the agent only doing 4 or 5 deals, right, that doesn't have the credibility and the connections that you do, what would you say to that agent about getting in front of people?
So I have a lot of agents, and I talk to agents all the time that aren't, nobody knows what icon means, by the way, outside of EXP.
It
They don't
brings a
know what an
level
icon.
of credibility right off the
Yeah,
bat, right?
it does. They know what your production is. They know all that
Right,
other stuff,
right.
but also we're all in this company together. And so I tell people to leverage my success and leverage other people's successes, right? So I've had some newer agents are like asking the same question. I said, just reach out to them and say, I really respect you. I've been watching you in the market for a long time. I really respect you. I would love to have coffee with you and share, if you're willing to, and some people won't, right? Because they're competitive, they're not collaborative. And if you're willing to share some of the things that you've done to achieve success, I would love to learn. And if there's anything I can share with you, like he's really built up something really cool on YouTube. He's like, I've built something up pretty cool on YouTube. I'd love to share with you as well. And so just approach it from a production standpoint. And then as you're sitting in those conversations, really truly be interested in what they're doing. Because those people that might not be an icon, first of all, not everybody wants to be an icon. Yeah. Right. I mean, I've got 4 kids and a husband and all these other people don't necessarily, I have freedom in a different way now because of the decisions I've made. But some people are like, I just want to do 2 houses a year. I want to do 2 houses a month. Okay, so if you want to do 4 houses a month, how many are you doing that? Well, right now I'm doing 2. Okay, what are you doing to get you to 4 houses a month? Well, then they'll tell you. I'm like, is that the same things you've been doing? Yes, that's the same things I've been doing. Okay, what can you do differently? So I will make those into mastermind sessions, or I'm a big connector. I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to know this person. Let's all get together and we can talk about what we're doing, maybe share. Or they've seen some of my marketing. I'm like, here, and I forward it to them. They're like, you're just going to give it to me? Well, number one, most people don't do what you tell them to do anyway. Number two, we probably have different databases, different business. We're not crossing paths. So if you come at it, I just tell them like, let's have a conversation and have coffee. Not, hey, I want to go to coffee. Now Brian Copeland, my leader, he's like, I want to go to have coffee with you because I want to tell you about EXP and why this has changed my life. And I knew nothing about it. He's new enough into it and he's seeing huge, massive success that he can go after those people that don't cap. But you just have to figure out what your story is because a lot of the companies don't have capping structures. Now what's happening, the bigger conversations are with the cloud-based ones that are copycats of ours. Because any of those companies now moving forward are going to have stock or ownership of some sort to even be able to stay in the game long term, right? So those are more the conversations we're having than the conversations against Compass and even Keller Williams are easy because of how expensive they are and how limited they are. And I've got a number of people that are like, we don't collaborate like we say we do. I'm like, I know you don't. And then they come into our meetings and our ecosystems. But my agents will call and they're like, hey, there's this great event we're having. I'd love for you to be my guest. So I'm creating events all the time and I'm like telling them to leverage that. Or, hey, Elizabeth Riley and I are going to get together for a mastermind. Would you like to have coffee with us? So we'll have like 3 or 4 and they're setting me up to kind of be able to ask the questions and talk to them. And then if I'm on calls with them on the third party calls, I'm like, okay, just edify both parties and then be quiet, right? Because me coming in as a third party, they're too close to it. And I can talk to them in whatever level they're in. So it's just picking up the phone and inviting them to coffee, but you've got to figure out a way where they don't feel like they're being recruited because they might not be a fit for us anyway. Right. So that's what a number of our agents are doing. They're inviting them to all the events we're doing and they're inviting them. We do a happy hour once a month too. We created that just for attraction pieces. Right. And so all of our top producers are coming to that. We've got the Austin icons and top producers. There's about 30 of us that we would mastermind every single week. And we're like, hold on, this is really awesome stuff. And we didn't let newer agents in there because that mastermind's going to be a different level. Then we said, well, hold on, why don't we live stream into Workplace so that the new agents can learn from us? And now what they're doing is they're being able to get links for their friends to listen in on what we're doing too. So we're creating opportunities for them to invite to. And then they're going to lunches and just talking production.
So
I mean, not
on
lunches,
your
coffee.
so in your events, did you say a minute ago that you only have EXP agents speaking on the panel, other than that one time you brought in these YouTubers?
No, those are all EXP agents.
Oh, those were EXP
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
you're always just having EXP experts on the panel. Okay. And you
Right,
do
because
that.
I don't want to put a Compass and KW and somebody, they've done that. Okay, people at other brokerages have me on their panels all the time, and I'm like, you're letting the fox in the hen house. I mean, it's like, not that I'm going to recruit, but it's hilarious because I know how to phrase my answers and my questions to them. I mean, we just got $100 million Compass team, 2 females, Meredith's in Austin, her business partners in Dallas, $100 million Compass team, because she saw me on a panel and she's like, I'm a mom. I'm exactly like you. I'm in these areas. I'm trying to get, like, I'm not $100 million team, but I was relatable because another independent brokerage put me on the panel. So I don't ever want to do that. I want to showcase our agents, first of all. I want to showcase our collaboration, and I don't want to ever give anybody an opportunity to try and recruit our agents.
So what would you recommend to the agent who's in an area, maybe they don't have a lot of top icon, a lot of top producers in their market center or in their area? What would you recommend if they love the idea of events for those agents?
So I have a group in workplace called AHA Club Organizers or something. You guys can join that if you want. I've got topics, I've got ideas, we've got videos. Sometimes we do masterminds. I got to get back to that. You don't have to be a top producer to create an event. I tell people all the time, if there's not an opportunity, or if I tell my agents, if you're not in the right room, move rooms. And if you don't have the right room, create the room. You don't have to be a top producer to create a mastermind. You don't have to be a top producer to say, hey, I'm a new agent. You're a newer agent. I see you in here. I'm watching you. Why don't we all create a mastermind? I created a women's group mastermind that we meet for coffee once a month called Women, Fearlessly Authentic Women in Real Estate. Now, it's an attraction piece, but I'm inviting women from all brokerages to come to have conversations. That's more about life and family and everything else. You don't have to be a producer to create an opportunity. If you're a newer agent saying, hey, I respect you, I'm watching you in the industry, find the people that you truly respect. I think it'd be really cool for us to have a mastermind. Would you be open to doing coffee once a month? It could be 2 people, it could be 3 people, it could be 10 people. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a top producer. And then what's really cool, like the AHA clubs are popping up all over the nation now, which is kind of crazy to me. They saw some of them would come in, and if they're in town, I will say, hey, like Russ Lagan, who is our VP of growth, he and his wife were in Austin for the month of February because Michigan's too cold. Like, who wants to be in Michigan in February, right? And I said, hey, Russ, I know you're on vacation. He's like, no, I'll be working. I was like, good. You want to come to our AHA club? He's like, sure. So Russ came in. Like, if people are in from out of town, ask them, or just ask them to. I fly all over the place. I just did 6 rallies, but if I'm in other towns, I'll do AHA clubs. I'll go speak to people's groups all the time. When you have somebody in from the outside, then all of a sudden it's a different expert. Does that make sense? So like I see like Nashville. I'm not going to be in Nashville. Okay, Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. That's near Denver, right? I think so. Yeah. So the other partner of the Compass team, the AHA or the Heyday group, the $100 million team, she's in Denver. Or I think she might be Aurora, actually. Anyway, like there's an opportunity for you all to get together and attract agents. Her name's Lisa Harrell. If you guys want to reach out to her, I would love y'all forever. Because she's kind of a little bit on an island because Austin's super tight. We're really, really tight, and she's kind of out there. But I mean, Lisa would come in and speak on how we built $100 million team, right? Or what if Meredith, her business partner, is up there, and Meredith can come in and speak to your group? Like, you bring in somebody from the outside. I go all over the place. Elizabeth can come in and talk. I don't care what I'm talking about, but you bring in that outside expert, it gives you a little bit more credibility. So you don't have to be a top producer, but you're surrounded by people that are producers that you can always ask. It doesn't matter what line you're in.
So how do you kind of fast forwarding to getting them in front of the EXP explained? How do you ultimately get them in front of it? Do you push play on a video? Do you do a PowerPoint? How are you typically showing the EXP to them?
I'm going to be probably a different conversation than any of the other ones y'all have on RevShare. I don't send videos. I don't show PowerPoints. I don't do any of that. Because that doesn't work with me. Like if somebody said watch a video, I don't watch a video. I treat people the way I want to be treated. Like I'm very relational in that regard. Um, I don't show a PowerPoint. I don't do any of that stuff. I do have screenshots of things when I'm talking about, like if somebody's like, okay, can you send me the fees or can you break those down? Oh yeah, I've got a quick screenshot. Let me just send you that. But I am not going to send a presentation because nobody really understands what the presentation is and nobody wants to sit through a presentation. I don't want to sit through a presentation. I feel like it's a little bit share-ish. So when I'm talking to people, what I've coached all of my agents to do is if you have somebody interested about EXP, just say, you know what, I don't have all the answers. I just know why it's been a great fit for me. Would you be open to talking to somebody that can really dive deep in for you? And they're like, sure, absolutely. I'm happy to talk to somebody. And then they put me on the call.
At that
Um,
point, you're just asking questions and finding their pain points, and then you're just talking about how EXP can maybe help solve that pain point, but you're
right.
really not getting into any kind of presentation mode at all. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. And it works for some people. And maybe that's, I mean, and I'm not saying there's one way to do it, right? It's just like real estate. There's not one way to succeed. That's what works for me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I spoke to an agent on Friday who's licensed in 2 states, North Carolina, South Carolina. She wants to get licensed in a third. And one of her biggest pain points was she's paying 2 different brokerages, 2 different fees, all these other stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I can feel your pain. I did the same exact thing. Right. And here's a cool thing. EXP is under one. That's what was important to her. The fact that we had one cap. She didn't care about anything else. So if I started doing a presentation, which even in the presentation, I don't even think it talks about having one
Right.
cap,
Right.
right? If I just started doing a presentation, I completely miss the opportunity of what she's trying to solve for.
Yeah.
Make sense? So I just have more conversations. Or if I'm out, for example, if I'm in a networking event or you know, I see somebody that I really respect, I'm like, we need to go grab coffee. Let's go grab coffee. I also know that we have access to the numbers. So I know their numbers are down 62% or whatever they are. And I'm like, how's it going? I'm not going to say, hey, Kelly, I see your numbers are down 62%.
Yeah.
Kelly, how's business going? She's going to say, it's fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to hear that. I was like, yeah, I'm actually having a great year too. I know that 2023 was tough for a lot of people. I didn't really feel that. And she'd say, really? You didn't? No? What were your numbers? Well, this is what I did. I said, but even more than that, I got to do this, this, and this. Now it starts getting her thinking because she's not fantastic. And I know they're not fantastic because they don't have stock. Here's the other thing too. I'm pretty private, but I've been very vocal in some of the things that EXP's allowed me to do. And I'm not saying it's rev share and I'm not saying it's stock. I'm saying the company as a whole. I mean, I retired my husband from Dell Computer after 25 years. And why did I do that? Not for a flex move. It was because my family was fractured. I have 4 children. My husband was gone internationally all the time. My family was broken. And I said, why are we doing this? He's like, well, I've got the benefits. I have to do this. He was miserable. I was like, well, EXP is healthcare. What would you think? I use the questions on my husband. It drives him nuts. I was like, what would it look like if we compare what Dell is providing to us and what EXP could provide? Would you be open-minded to that question or to that meeting? Sure. And he kind of blew me off on it because he was like, yeah, whatever. And we met, and EXP Healthcare was better than what Dell was providing for my family of 6. And so then I said, so what if I retired you? And he said, what would I do? I said, you'd find your passion again. You'd build a relationship with our kids that you've lost for the last, whatever. And so now he's been retired 3 years. I mean, I tell him all the time, I'm going to give him a Walmart greeter application to go find something to do. But I mean, in all seriousness, he takes the kids to school in the morning. He picks them up. He's like got an incredible relationship with them. But that's not possible without this company. So I have people all the time that know I know you retired your husband. What the heck? How did you retire your husband doing real estate? We're in the same market. It's like, well, I'm in a company that benefits me in a bigger way for just doing real estate. I said, the same transactions you and I are doing, I'm able to receive stock and all these other things. So people know more about us now. I think it's easier now than when we were building. We have so much behind us. We have the production. accolades. We've got the Glassdoor accolades. We've got RevShare 2.0 right now. Like that hurts some of us. It hurts my numbers bad, but it benefits the majority. And so I'm excited about that. More of us win. Our company grows. We own this company. So I just to have conversations, and I'm like, if you don't know what to say, pull me into a meeting. I mean, one of my agents the other day, she's Indian. She's like, I was talking to my friend who's Indian and he was asking me questions. I don't know what to say. She's brand new into the industry. I was like, put him on a call with me. So I could talk to him, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, where are you from in India? I know nothing about India. But I'm like, oh, we've got so many cool opportunities going. He's like, wait a minute, you're global, you're in India. Like then they start thinking about things in different ways because there's so many facets to just selling homes.
One thing I want to say real quick, I don't want to gloss over what you just said about how this 2.0 hurts your income. Like I want y'all to understand the impact of this. I mean, I was talking to Rob Flick the other day. It is impacting him in a big way. And
Mm-hmm.
going to what Elizabeth said a moment ago is when you're an owner, you think differently. You've got the top 100 or so agents, rev share earners in this company: Elizabeth, Rob Flick, Gene Frederick, the top 100 or so. They're all being hit in a negative way with this rev share 2.0 to benefit the majority of the agents, because they know as owners, and we're all owners. So I'm bringing this up because I want us all to have this mindset. We're all owners. So they get hit negatively because they know in the big picture, it's going to enhance the company. It's going to make the company better. It's going to help the quote unquote small agent, the ones that only have, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 agents, but they haven't been able to get it paid, on the second, third levels. And so it's really, that's massive in what EXP just did, but it's even more massive when you hear from people like yourself and Rob and all, and knowing you guys are the ones that all voted for this ultimately, and
Yeah,
to impact the company, in a bigger way. So first of all, just thank you for having that mindset, as that owner, to benefit to benefit all the agents across the company in a bigger way. So I have I have a couple more questions. I'm just going to ask one more, and then I'm going to open it up.
sure.
So you're obviously massive in building relationships. I love that. That's more, I do some cold calling. I hate that, but it's
Yeah.
what I've kind of felt like at this stage of my career, because I've been here since 2017, that that I've kind of fell into. But what is do you use CRM? I'm sure you do, because you sound like you're very systematized. And then what is your follow-up? Is it just inviting them to your networks, to your masterminds? Is that your follow-up? Or what are your follow-ups once you are in front of an agent to stay connected to them, especially once you've had that EXP conversation?
I love that you think I'm systemized and organized, and I'm not. I'm a hot mess. So just so you know, I'm a hot mess. I do have a CRM. I would use KB Core. We didn't have it when I came to the company. So if you guys aren't using a CRM or KB Core, I would use it. It's free, right? You don't pay for what you don't need to pay for. I use Follow Up Boss, but I barely know how to use it. I use it for entry stuff and keep everybody in there, and I've got everybody tagged. So my follow-up is simply this. I also use an app called Reach. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it. It's super easy, reach.com. I put everybody, like all of I have different groups set up in that. It's an app on your phone. And I'll have like active recruits. I'll have first line. So everybody in my front line, because I want to give them all an answer, a message, but I want it to be individual. I don't want it to be a huge group text, right? So what I'll do is, for example, our Eventbrite for our AHA clubs. I'll take that and I'll put that message in there and I'll send it to my recruits. I'm like, this is a great meeting. I thought about you. I thought this would be great for you to come to. If you're available, be my guest. Just let me know, be my guest, and I'll snag you a ticket. Okay. So, and what it does is it'll send it individually to each person, and you can personalize each one. So it doesn't look like it's a big mass group text. I do that. I have a group for my clients, my past clients, because who has time to go through it? Okay, here are all my people one by one, right? So Reach is huge for me. That's probably the biggest app I use. But my follow-up is just, I'm inviting them all the time. I do have all of my 11,000, 12, whatever thousand agents in my database too. And so those are relationships for me as well, because I want to see how I can help them. So I'll send out messages to them and invite them to things like the regional rallies. It's like, hey, the regional rallies are here. I'm going to be at these 6. If any of you are going to be at these, come visit me, whatever, because I want them to know as well. So I just follow up just like my clients. I follow up with my clients every single month. I have a direct mail piece that I send out to my clients every single month. I have my clients on Reach that, hey, I was in the neighborhood. I was in the neighborhood. It might not be theirs, but I was in the neighborhood and just was thinking about you. If you want to grab coffee, I would love to catch up. It's still a touch. Some of them will respond, some of them won't, but that's how I communicate with everybody. I don't like talking on the phone. I just, even if my mom calls me, I'm like, get to the point. I use the other methods that are a little bit more passive.
Great. All right, we've got about 10 minutes. And I'm going to open it up and let you guys ask the questions. I know y'all
Is this
have
helpful?
questions. Yes, it's great. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Who has a question for Elizabeth?
I have one.
Melvin, out in California.
Good morning.
Hi, Melvin.
Thanks for the information. I have a question in reference to the different meetings that you have. I know that one of them is like a big shot. Someone's in the neighborhood. Can you tell me other topics of meetings that you do on a monthly basis?
For like the events I do, like topics?
Yes.
Yeah. So I ask the agents, like, what's important to y'all, right? I also want to showcase and have other people shine. I lead from the front, but I lead from the back. I love to pull people up. And so if I see, this is just one of my gifts, I'm a connector. And when I see different opportunities and gifts in people, even if they don't see it in themselves, I kind of force them into that. So a lot of times panels work really well because sometimes people don't want to be up there speaking on their own. So I'll do like a rookie panel, and then I'll have a rising star panel, and I'll have a top producer panel. That one has done really, really well because these are brand new agents. Hey, this is what's going on and this is what's working for me, and they can share, but they're not intimidated by being up there by themselves. Panels work really well. Luxury panels, luxury conversations work really well. AI has been a big one. Phil Stringer, I don't know if you guys know Phil Stringer. He's out of North Carolina. He's an EXP agent. He's amazing. Good friend of mine. He happened to be out this way, and I was like, hey, Phil, will you do an AI thing? And that one was packed. So AI is really, really big. You don't have to bring in a Phil Stringer though. If you've got, like Melvin, if you're talking about AI, or you know some people, again, EXP people, AI is a big conversation. Luxury is big. Listing presentations and doing role plays. Exactly What to Say is a book that Phil M. Jones wrote. It's a book. It's super quick. It's like 72 minutes on Audible. But he's got one on real estate as well. I go to his private masterminds in New York all the time, and it's so awesome. But he's got these role play cards now, and so we'll go in. And I've had like Renee Funk. He has certified guides around the country that are EXP agents as well. I've had Renee Funk come in and do a certification on exactly what to say. Tons of people come in because they want to know what to say to their clients, especially in the different markets. So I'm just trying to think of some other ones that have been really good. YouTube is a big one. Like I said, in that group, in workplace chat and workplace, not chat, but group, there's a bunch of different topics, but I ask a lot of the agents, what are you needing right now? We're going to bring in people with new construction. You can bring in, I mean, you've got some of the growth leaders that are out there that I'll have them come in, not talking about attraction, because most of them all used to sell. I'll have them come add some value. So it just depends on what's most needed.
Now,
but I only do those September through May, by the way.
September. And how is Eventbrite helping you with that process? You have mentioned Eventbrite.
Yeah, Eventbrite. I use Eventbrite for all the registrations, and it charges $15. I charge them all $15, but then I can upload different lists. So we've downloaded all of the real estate agents, all the different companies in the city. And so I have lists up there that'll say Keller Williams and Compass and whatever. And so I can strategically target all of those to invite them as well.
Nice. Okay,
And I do
thank
it
you.
at the Austin Board of Realtors. A really cool thing about that is now ABOR is so used to us doing them, and they know it's not recruiting because you're not allowed to recruit at that level or at the organizations. And they know because they've all been in them, and they're like, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, this is a great stuff. So they put them on their calendar now. And so now people just think it's an ABOR thing.
Nice. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So good. Who else has a question?
Hey, Kathy.
Paul.
Paul Zorich, Nashville, Tennessee, commercial. Thank you, Elizabeth, for all your comments and, information you're providing. So I'm with commercial. I started in residential. Just to coattail onto what you were talking about, we could do something like how to make money in commercial real estate without doing a deal. And
Yep.
basically in EXP, we could just refer to commercial agents or business brokerage, which is one of my fortes. So we could do a seminar on that, invite agents to come and listen.
Yep, absolutely. And commercial, you have a huge opportunity in commercial. All of us have a huge opportunity in commercial, by the way. And I keep telling people commercial right now is where, well, even a couple months ago was where I was in Realty. And when I came on board in Realty, look at what we've done, and we're what, 90,000. I mean, commercial is going to do that. And so y'all that are in commercial right now, yeah, it's bumpy. It's always going to be bumpy, but it's worth it to get to where we're going. So you have a huge opportunity. Now, my AHAs, I only do 11 to 1. So I'll have the sponsor come and speak from 11:15. They get their lunch or whatever. And by 11:30, it's from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. I keep it short and sweet, but the commercial piece is huge. We're going to be bringing in commercial as well in the fall.
Yeah, and I just got back from a business brokerage conference in Louisville. So some people don't even know that we can buy and sell businesses as well under our commercial plate.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
And Nashville, y'all are close to a lot of the states, right? Like all of them from other states can come into where you are. It's not too far.
exactly. Yeah,
I
we do
would target all
two.
that.
We do 2 commercial meetings per year, one in March, one in September, and anybody's welcome to come to that. And we network and teach and learn, and we talk about the referrals as well.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity right there. And even if you're not in commercial, bring in the commercial people. Say, look, I'm going to do a commercial one. I know nothing about commercial, and Paul, love you, but I don't want to know anything about commercial. I just want to know who to refer them to. So but people want to know about that. Or if you're in residential and you want to do both, like there are opportunities. The way we operate as a company is so foreign to what everybody else is doing. And that's what makes it fun.
Absolutely.
That's right. Kate, you wanted to say, I saw you put a message in chat there, Kate.
Oh, well, hi. Thanks, Elizabeth. I do a mastermind on Monday mornings, 8:30 to 9, right before this meeting. And I just try to offer value to agents where they can come in and have positivity, prayer, and fun. And we go through a book. But right now we're doing that Phil Jones, exactly what to say. And it
I
is
love
blowing
that.
my mind. It's so
Yeah.
good.
If y'all are, Phil is pretty brilliant. If you're not in Family Tree, EXP Family Tree in Workplace, join that group. That's a group that 4 of us created. We're in different lines. So Hank, Mitch, Rich, and myself, we're all 4 different organizations, but we're like, it doesn't matter. We're all EXP, and we have about 10,000 agents in there, and we all do production. We do rev share training, everything. Everybody's open. We don't care who your sponsor is. But Phil Jones, we had Phil come in and do a presentation, an hour-long training with us, and I've got it pinned to the top of Family Tree. So if you guys aren't familiar with Phil Jones, go watch that. It is definitely mind-blowing. I'm trying to get him more involved and engaged. He's in high demand and he's pretty expensive. So hopefully we'll have more of him around.
So you had mentioned he had some role play cards and all. How does somebody get in his master? And you said you go to New York and all. How does somebody get in his mastermind groups and get access to that?
Yeah, reach out to me. His private masterminds are about 5,500 person. So they're only 15 people per, and he only does them like 3 or 4 times a year. I've done 3 of them now, all different topics or different, like the last one was more open book on speakers. But there's about 15 of us in there. It's about $5,500 a person. It's a 2-day certification. It's really amazing. But he also does bigger things that like the guides are a lot less expensive, but they're doing the events all over the country as well. So his role play cards, what I can do is, if you give me 2 seconds, I'll tell you where they are. I'm not a part of it. I'm not a guide. I don't make any money off of this stuff at all. but exactly what to say, hold on. But it's made a difference. And we did a role play on Friday
In
in
the
one of my
family tree,
groups.
the family
No,
tree.
I
or
didn't do
your-
it in Family Tree. We're gonna do it in Family Tree. We did a role play. It was so fun. And I hate role play. I'll just tell you now that I hate role play. But here, I'm gonna give you guys the link.
Awesome, thank you.
Whoops, that's not the link.
So Laura, you asked what's the name of the workplace group? So there's EXP Family Tree, and then there's also what she was talking about earlier. There's an AHA group in workplace, AHA, Agents Helping Agents. So if you're interested in doing an AHA group, go to that group and you'll get some information too. But EXP Family Tree is where that video that she just talked about is posted.
Yeah, and we do train, and we have a schedule of all the trainings we do in there all the time. And yeah, Rich Tomancini, if y'all don't know him, he's out of North Carolina. He's a master with attraction and stuff too. And but we're all one EXP. We don't care whose groups they're in, you know. And the outside narratives are, we have silos. We don't really have silos. Like, we're all coming together, and that was us to counteract that. And we have 10,000 people in there, so anybody's welcome to be an EXP Family Tree. The AHA Club Organizers Collaborator Group is the other one. People ask me all the time, hey, because some of y'all might be in my line, I don't even know. But some people will ask me, hey, Elizabeth, what are you doing for your group? I do any of our training, I'll do in Family Tree, because I want everybody in the company to have access to all of us. So I don't do my own little things. It's just one less thing to add people to. But anyway, so if I can ever help you guys, let me know. Workplace chat's the best way to get me. But if you ever need me on a call with somebody, Gene calls me all the time. He's like, hey, Elizabeth, I got a producer that I need to get you on a call with. Sure. I need a top female. Sure. I'm one of the ambassadors with Luxury. Luxury is a huge opportunity right now too for attraction. We're getting a lot of traction on that. We've got some of the Caldwell Banker luxury agents that were top here in Austin, that they're all coming over now because of our luxury program. So if you guys do luxury in your markets, even if you don't do luxury, but you know some luxury agents that are doing luxury, just that's another reason to call them for coffee, saying, you know, hey, Fred, I know you do a lot of luxury. I just wanted to show you kind of what we have in store and what's, you know, what could be possible, because I'm beating out Compass, Sotheby's, KW International, all these other companies. In fact, two of the ones we've done, the top two people were EXP luxury agents. And it's funny because we're all really good friends. I was like, okay. And then one of them, they actually said, well, the seller couldn't decide between the two. How cool is this? Both two different groups, two different brands. They said, why don't we just list it together? And they said, you can do that? Yeah, we can do that. So they're listing that together. So everybody wins. So just be creative, but leverage the tools that we have with Revenos, with luxury, with commercial. We've got farm and ranch coming. We've got so much to offer that people just don't understand what it is. We don't need to talk about recruiting. Just figure out what's important to those people and you can pull them in that way.
Perfect. Yep, totally agree. And so there's a luxury group on Facebook, on Workplace. So if that's of interest to you, go check that out. You can get the information there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the luxury masterminds are every Wednesday, but the last Wednesday of every month, you don't have to be in the luxury group. So you can be in that luxury mastermind. And then on Thursdays, I can't remember how often. I think it's once a month, but it might be every other week. It's on the luxury events page on the website. Then they have a luxury explained that you can invite guests to. So just use the tools and resources that we have. I mean, we have so much to offer that it's just, you have, if you ask questions, you'll know what's important to those people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us
You're welcome.
today, for sharing all your wisdom. And we were talking right before we went live, and we're going to have her back on a Tuesday to do production, 9-time icon agent. So we'll coordinate that with her one day soon, and have her back for the production side of things. So thank you again, Elizabeth, so much.
You're welcome, y'all. Thank you for having me this morning.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll have this recording up probably at the end of the day for everybody to review. Send it to your peeps. Bye, y'all.